Hey viewers, please don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. Let's go.
Married, unmarried men, how did you find out you were getting cheated on? We were cuddling on the couch late at night, like 2 a.m., and she got a message on her phone through an app, which was weird because she always just used the default messenger on her iPhone. The contact name was just the letter A and the message was just the letter K. I was already suspicious because she'd been really cold to me over the past few days. I went through her phone while she was asleep in my lap and found nudes she had sent this a person. I installed the app on my phone and logged into her account so I could see the messages between them later on just so I could be sure. I tried giving her the benefit of the doubt because I found the nudes in her deleted photos. He messaged her again late the next night, about 3 a.m., and they had a whole conversation about having sex with each other and their relationship. Turned out he was a guy from work that she told me was trying to get with her months ago, and at the time she had turned him down and said he wasn't her type at all. I took screenshots of everything and confronted her in the middle of their conversation. At the time I found out they had been having an affair for 2 weeks and that started just a week after we had gotten engaged. It's been about a month since I confronted her and we're still together and about to start couples therapy. She's been in therapy for 3 weeks and this is my second week. It's a miserable experience, but we've been best friends for years, so it's hard to just kick her out of my life. We had been together for over a year, didn't live together. I was on my way to pick her up for date night. We were going to the movies. I got a notification on my phone, and checked it at a stoplight. Some guy had messaged me on Facebook saying that he knew my girlfriend and we needed to talk. I pulled over and indulged his message, asking why. He basically said that he met my girlfriend on Tinder, and had been talking to her for a few months. They exchanged lewd photos and were texting frequently. He said he didn't know she had a boyfriend until he looked her up on Facebook. That's when he messaged me and cut contact. I asked him for proof. He sent me pictures of her I had never seen before. Screenshots of their messages. He provided plenty of evidence. So, I collected my emotions, started up my car and picked up my girlfriend. Instead of driving to the movies, I drove to the place where we met, parked in the lot, and handed her my phone. I asked her to explain. She couldn't. She tried to lie her way out of it, saying it was a prank and wasn't real. I screamed for hours. I poured so much of myself into that relationship. I was ready to marry that girl, and give her the world. I gave her a week to prove that it was fake, and she couldn't. I couldn't trust her anymore and I ended things. I later found out that after one of our big fights, we didn't talk for a day and she went and slept with a couple. One of her friends and their boyfriend. About a year later after the breakup, I get a text from a random number, on New Year's Eve no less. It was the ex. She was apologizing, saying that I didn't deserve what she did to me, and she hopes that one day we'll bump into each other again, but that I'll have the family I've always wanted. It's been 3 years. I'm still in therapy working on myself because of the trauma it caused, among other life issues. I've tried pursuing other relationships, but they haven't been the healthiest because of the underlying trust issues. It's getting better, but man, that relationship really messed me up. Walked in on her texting. She slammed her phone face down and looked guilty. I tried to grab her phone, she fought me for it and I got it eventually. It was locked with a new code. It was the first time in our marriage she changed her passcode. She showed me a text between her and her guy co-worker who always was inappropriate with her. Nothing blatant, but I got mad and left because it was clearly a convo meant for me to see. She was hiding the real convo. I stayed at my mom's for a couple weeks while we worked on things. While I was paying half the rent, she moved the guy in, had him stick all my stuff in trash bags and had her assistant dump it on my mom's lawn. She divorced me and is now living with him in my old home with my old pets and the possessions she kept. Way better off without her. I'm with a girl now who treats me like a king and doesn't have severe mental issues and a horrible alcohol addiction. Don't be afraid of change. It hurts, but it's worth it. When she didn't come home one night and didn't answer her phone. She told me she'd be out a little late with coworkers till 8 to 9. Around midnight, I decided to call the cops in case she'd been in a crash. I didn't know where she went, but I knew her tablet connected to her FB Messenger. I found a ton of messages that were very explicit. When she did finally come home, I told her to go spend the night with him, since he clearly wanted her and I no longer did. Denied, denied, denied. If she had just left, I could have dealt with that. She proceeded to keep trying to get back with me. Even calling my mom to say she still wanted to be with me. I was stuck living with her due to the lease agreement. She kept trying to get back together. Wanted me to go to a wedding with her. Got really fixated on it. When the day C and I still said no, somehow that was what got her to leave. Even after that, she tried to use the death of her dog as a means to get back in talks with me. I was amazed at how much more money I suddenly had despite having less income for the same bills. My mom was kind of fucked up about the whole thing. I don't think she understood how shitty people can be, and what a liar she was. If she's reading this, try not to choke on any dicks on your way to the mailbox. For the benefit of everyone, please die in a fire. She used my computer because at the time, my PC was the only one we had. She left herself logged into her Gmail account and I legitimately thought I was still logged into mine. I saw a particularly spicy subject line and confused, clicked it. After reading it I realized the mistake, but now I was curious and checked the outbox and junk folders and found emails from several months back. Being the pussy I am, I didn't know how to handle it. Rather than confront her, I kept it secret that I knew. I snooped pretty regularly after that, but I never saw any more messages. I'm not proud that I snooped, but it made me feel better that I didn't see any more messages. I tried to log in one day and it triggered an alert to her phone and she thought someone was trying to hack her and I backed off the snooping. I don't know if that spooked her into being more sneaky or caught, but I never found more messages. Over time I wrote it off and years have gone by without seeing more messages. We had a happy relationship and I proposed and I've been married a year. Again, not proud, but I continued to snoop anytime I had access to her phone and PC and never saw a hint of it again. Until this summer, I found a series of conversations with the same person from years ago going back months. Casually talking about our plans for trips and other life events. I found out she was planning on meeting him. I own home that week. I confronted her and told her I knew about the first time and I knew about this time and that if he comes over, we're done. It was a really rough week. I was in shambles and heartbroken. I asked her why and if there was other men. She confessed it was the same person, a person she met when she was young and going through a lot of emotional lows in her life. She told me he was someone that made her feel special and needed, but he only contacted her when he wanted sex and it made this cycle of need then depression. We had a long conversation and I learned more about her than I did while we were together all this time and how she experimented a lot when she was younger due to body and mental issues and was taken advantage of sexually. She said this guy made it feel different and it became an attachment she couldn't get rid of. I told her I'm willing to reconcile because I do love this woman, but it has to end QND if I ever get even a sniff of this again, we're through. She said she's realized now that everything she was seeking, she found in me, but just didn't know how to open her past to me. We've been in couples therapy and I feel like we've made a lot of progress. She is a lot more open and free with her feelings because she knows I won't dismiss them. We talk more and are more intimate with each other and more often. We're making progress and I truly believe she regrets it. Maybe I am a wuss, but I don't want to lose everything we've put into this relationship without at least trying. She seems happier too that her secret is out and we can talk about it more freely and she's pursuing individual therapy to help her with her own issues. I hope we can in time out this all behind us and have a happy future together. This is the first time I've talked about this outside couples therapy or to my best friend and I think I needed to type it out to help me as it's all still so recent. 17 years together, nearly 10 years married, 4 kids. We had moved out of state as a family, as we had decided to do together, for my job. She simultaneously had stopped taking her Prozac without consulting a doctor. She hated the new state we lived in, and would continually cry in front of the children telling me how much she hated it as they were attempting to adapt to their new surroundings. A friend contacted me and had a different job in a different state. I asked if we should try it, as they would cover some of the relocation, and she said yes. Importantly, during this period, she lied and had said she was interviewing for jobs around the country, and traveling for a job she didn't have. These trips would turn out to have been with the new guy. She withdrew her entire 401k without withholding any taxes while we were still wed without discussing it with me, and the amount was far from inconsequential. Anywho, I quit my job and took the new one, went to see the new place and look for houses for a few weeks, and then returned home for Christmas. The funny way to put it is that I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she said, a divorce. And I said, well, I hadn't planned on spending quite that much. The same day, she had left her iPad right next to the toilet, as she often nastily did, and I was going to use it to pay an online bill. Her Facebook Messenger was open, and then I found the message thread with the guy. Her old romantic interest from way back before we met. She moved out of state, and then to Prague, and I got the divorce done in 3 months and have had full custody 98% of the time ever since. Dear reader, I wouldn't have fucked her with your dick even before finding out. I was surprised, but couldn't be happier. What really sucks is when you get put in a position where you know for sure, but can't prove it and have more than one person's story to analyze. One evening I was down sick with something and not up to going out, but my GF of 1 year asked if I'd mind if she went out to the bar with my 12-year homie and his bro. I told her yeah for sure, have fun, be safe, feeling pretty confident my dog wouldn't try shit with her, and that she respected me enough to not want that and not allow any advances from him. I crash out at like 10 p.m, 4 hours later she calls me and is intoxicated and emotional, talking randomness in a defensive way to preface her story, whether true or not. I'm fresh out of dreamland hearing her ask if I can come get her and that she's walking my way from my homie's house a 15-minute drive away. I give her basic questions and decide I'm coming to get her, so I head out and she's with me shortly after headed home. I don't know what the fuck at this point, so I'm asking and listening best I can. My homie answered when I called him on my way. He was way drunk, not able to articulate much clearly, but he basically said he doesn't know what happened. They were chilling and she freaked out all of a sudden and said she had to leave. He informed me that they had both ingested a little yayo and been drinking, and as I questioned further it became clear they were late night hanging together for sure, but he swore up and down that he did not try anything with her, and he insinuated that she did with him. He said they were chilling and she all of a sudden freaked out and bounced, which OBV doesn't make sense. So, he's vaguely claiming innocence. Flash forward to back home with GF. Her story is they all went out, drank a bunch, did a little drugs and ended up back at his still hanging. She claimed that he aggressively started coming onto her and she was like, no, your good friend is my BF, but he continued and she felt she had to leave, so she ran outside and started waking away and eventually called me. Continued questioning revealed they were in his bedroom on his bed for sure, had been hanging for a while, etc. And ultimately I believed she was not innocent as she proclaimed, neither of them were. What sucks is both of them tried to portray total innocence and save my perception of them, when I'm confident that they were both responsible, and sounds like advancement was halted, which I could accept, but neither would admit. Ultimately I couldn't trust either of them anymore, so we separated. I broke things off with her after a longer talk with my dude where he got more honest. Mostly though because she was also not lining up to be someone I'd go along with. Not so much for sure cheated on, but I haven't typed out that story telling someone else ever, so now I did. Had it happened twice with different girls. First wasn't good but wasn't really into her, so it hurt but not as much as the second one. First was traveling home from her house after spending Christmas Eve with her and her family, was spending Christmas Day with my family. We hadn't been going out that long, say 6 months, so wasn't sure about the spending Christmas Day with each other's family, didn't want to disappoint her, so we settled on me staying Christmas Eve. Had a good night and then a good morning, and on the way home I had a text from her saying, "I wish you could have seen me in my Christmas outfit." I'd literally just left her house and seen her in it, so knew straight away it was meant for someone else. Boxing went to see her and grabbed her phone and seen all these messages to some guy. Just left the phone on the bed and walked out, never seeing her again. Second time. After not experiencing a good time in relationships, I took my time getting back into it. 4 years. My best friend was working for a company and suggested I'd be good at it also. Went on to do the job like 7 years, ended up meeting this woman through work, and we had a 4-year relationship. She's been cheating on me the whole time with multiple men, including my best friend. Found out when she decided to come clean years after, so I'd been still hanging around with my best friend and he had been sleeping with her. Lost a 4-year relationship and a 30-year friendship. Messed me up with trusting people, even questioning myself. After all, it was me who let them into my life. I'm glad I found out, though there's people out there who are raising other people's kids without knowing. It's sick. She, F21, told me, M21. I was bragging about how good I was at keeping secrets because I had proposed the weekend before and she didn't even think I had ring money together yet. It wasn't current cheating, but it turns out for the first 6 months of our relationship I was the other dude. BF was at a different college than where we met. I was told he was an ex, not current BF. Apparently they finally broke up because she started to feel like she was cheating on me with him, even though they had been together since HS. Needless to say, I was furious. We'd been together plus 2.5 years, just got engaged, our first place together with roommates. I was dead against marriage, don't need gov or religions in my relationship, but she put down ultimatums. I was basically coerced by her and the fact that domestic partnership laws wouldn't allow a straight couple, so my counteroffer was DOA. I got the ring back from her and she was sobbing and hyperventilating for a day and a half. I had very few friends in the town I had relocated to in order to live with her, so I slept on the couch. I couldn't kick her out of bed. TMJ, a joint problem meant sleeping not on her pillow in a way she's comfortable could lock her jaw closed, which is just as horrifying as it sounds. Over the next few days I talked to my brother and a few others, calmed down, and then sat her down and had a fucking heart-to-heart. All details, all questions answered, nothing held back in a way she had never done before. Did admit to an additional infidelity that had occurred during dating both me and BF. That one was a one-off, and though she didn't see it this way at the time, that dude 100% assaulted her. For the record, so had the HSBF, but I had already known about that. Guys are fucking horrible. Everything got laid bare and she, for what it was worth, apologized about 16,875 times. I slept on the couch for a week and eventually gave her the ring back. I think I may have even said, provisionally. Looking back, I think it did so she'd stop crying and hyperventilating all the time while I came to grips. I don't think I kissed her for a month, and sex was the following month because I was so low on trust. Low on want for physical closeness or attention. But I felt I had to try. She was my first serious relationship and I had tied my whole life up in being with her. No friends, wrong state. I was completely in love with her, and so I thought it would be worth it. Slowly she earned my trust back and we worked through it. Epilogue. It was worth it. Our kid is 4, 9th wedding anniversary is next week, November 30th, she's the best. Just a real person. Someone who fucked up and has made it right. Story time. This is gonna sound fake, but I swear it happened. During college, this was way before cell phones. I met and started dating, hooking up with a girl. She lived in the same quad, but in a different dorm. She was from a tiny town about 2 hours away in the state. We always hung out in my dorm room. I hadn't even met her roommates except in passing as, "This is my friend." I didn't really care, as I was young and dumb, and she was hot. One time we went out on a date to a play on campus and she was being all snuggly, it was great. I noticed a girl I hadn't met before looking at us a lot. A few days later I saw this girl in the dorm cafeteria. She came over and was like, "Hey, just FYI, your girl has a man back in her hometown. She's got a million pictures of him up in the dorm, and they talk on the phone every night. It's annoying actually. Also, he's a huge dude, so watch out." I asked her about it and she said they had dated all through HS but broke up before she came to college. She swore it was over. I believed her, again mostly because I was young and dumb, and she was super hot. About a month later we are hanging out outside the dorms. Holding hands and couple shit. She goes, "Oh shit." And here comes the biggest farm boy ever looking super pissed. Apparently, it was their anniversary and he drove up to campus to surprise her. Her roommate told him where she was. He definitely was surprised. The dude was not happy, which was understandable. He wanted to fight me even though I tried really hard to tell him I had no idea. He didn't listen and we fought. I'm also a big dude, so I didn't get an ass kicking, but my heart wasn't in it, and I honestly was happy he got some shots in. I was on the college wrestling team and my roommate's teammates were nearby, so they broke it up. No harm done, no cops needed, just a quick scuffle. Honestly, the dude didn't seem into the fight either, and I could tell he was really upset. He seemed to have had no idea and was more confused than pissed. The poor dude legit had flowers and candy for his girl. Once it was broken up, I was like, "Okay, you all have a good night. Happy anniversary. Sorry dude." And off they went. We were like, "Okay, well that was weird, fuck it, let's go to the bar and get smashed." Later that night my roommates and I had been bar hopping and ended up at a towny bar. Lo and behold we see this poor dude there. He was sitting at the bar drinking alone. My good buddy goes over and is like, "Hey, that whole thing sucked. If you don't want to fight anymore, why not come over and drink with us? No hard feelings, fuck that crazy bitch." Long story short, the dude was awesome, we all got smashed and kept drinking toasts to, "Fuck that crazy bitch." We all went back and played video games at our dorm and ate 3 a.m. tacos. He woke up super hungover on the couch, then we hung out, watched college football all day, then he went back to his town. We kept in touch and he became one of the college crew. I have no idea what happened with the girl, and saw her around a bit but ignored her. It's been a long time, but we're still in touch, and we both got married much later, we even went to each other's wedding. He's happy and has a great wife and some cool kids, still lives in the same small town. 2 summers ago we were back in the state visiting my alma mater and made the drive to his town and our families all hung out for the day. It was great. He's a good dude. We love telling the story of how we met.